the visual, so I don't want to get stuck on like the N-word. You feel me? Like I'm not making that a part of my reality no more at all, period. That's not a part of my reality. So black will not be a part of my reality. I try my best to say brown, like we're shades of brown. You feel me?
I'm going to tell you what the issue with that is. It sounds like, okay, I'm not going to say it sounds like. If I heard somebody else say it, because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm taking it a little bit different than I heard some stranger on the street. If I heard a stranger on the street say, I'm like, what's the issue with you being black, though? Like, that would be my reaction to it.
Right.
I'd be like you're letting the stigma behind the word, instead of changing people's perception on the stigma, you're trying to change the stigma itself. Okay. If that makes sense. Like the word that defines the stigma as opposed to people's perception on that stigma.
Right. I see what you're saying.
So it's like if we try to change the word, like hoe. Hoe is supposed to be a more acceptable word now. As far as the city girls is concerned, I don't know.
Right. Well,
like
music
we're trying to
is
change the definition where hoe should be more of an accepting word. Like, that just means you get around, and if you're free to do that, then you're all free to do that. But that doesn't a hoe doesn't directly define you as a bad person or anything.
Right.
So like when you say I don't want to use black, it's because a black would define you as a bad person in some people's eyes.
Okay, I see.
So when you pull yourself away from it, it's like, no, just show them that black doesn't mean bad.
Right, absolutely.
Now, asking us to change the definition of black in the dictionary is near impossible.
Right.
Because,
I agree with that, absolutely. But it's about the tongue and it being so strong in the word of black and what black means to people. You feel me? Why not? It's not about representing what was in the past or what we trying to be strong for, because who's really, really doing that? Like, who's really, really doing that right now? You feel me? So it's like, if I choose this, no one should look at it like that. They should listen to what I have to say. And if they feel it somewhere in their spirit, then they might start using brown. It's not about everybody. It's about somebody. You feel me? If I can get that one person to say, you know what? Yeah, I'll use brown. And we switch it up. You feel me? Brown, we call ourselves nigga all the time. We took that word back.
What if you get one person that says black isn't bad?
Right, black isn't bad.
Agreed.
I don't go against if someone like I'm black. I'll be like, yo, I'm brown. Like I'm brown. Like I'm not black. What you talking about? Because you know why I started doing that? Because I was working with certain people and they would always have jokes. They would always have jokes like
moon cricket.
Like, huh? What?
Moon cricket. It's a slur for. That's what they call black people that used to work out in the fields at night because they would, to sing their hymns.
Wow.
So they would call it moon crickets.
I didn't know
they'd be
that.
chirping at the moon.
And they say white people aren't creative.
Yeah. It's one of the funniest fucking racist jokes I've ever heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it a joke or is it just a matter of
funniest
fact?
slurs.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Moon.
It's a joke to me. Like if I hear people say it, I'm like, that's hilarious. You're ignorant as fuck, but that's hilarious. Moon cricket is hilarious.
Fair enough.
But I mean, and so is mayonnaise sapiens. So
yeah, that's
or White Walkers, or Stormtroopers, or Caucus Vikings.
Wow.
Or ashy ass pale fuckers.
Wow. See?
All right, so all right, we're getting out of hand. We're getting out of hand. This is not a Patreon exclusive. All right, we don't have free realm like this. Man. But no, I understand where like, but going back to the that racial slur, it's like it's kind of image people create where it's like moon cricket is acceptable.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you never heard that before?
Nah,
yeah, I
never.
love that. I love that shit. The first time I heard it, I was like, that's creative. Like that's the only time certain people can be creative. I filtered the shit out of that. I filtered the shit out of that. But some people can only be creative when they're making racial slurs.
Yeah, that's true. And some people can only relate to you when they're making racial slurs.
Like my TV is colored too.
Who?
Yikes.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I have a black friend. My thing is, yo, have you been in a black home and you're whatever age you're telling me this right now?
No.
I'm going to say, come to my house. Come to my parents' house and everything. You'll get the most love you will ever get. You feel me?
Wait. Don't come to my parents' house.
Well, I'm saying.
But I got you.
You feel me? But if I go with them to where they're from, it'll be all of this like, who's this guy? Who? Oh gosh, like
this is what you decided to be with.
He has a tattoo behind his ear. He must be a felon. You know what I'm saying?
Why'd you hit the Dave Chappelle white man voice?
That's like the mental rotation that's going on.
The psyche,
My thought is, how do you break that? How do you get them out of that? How do you get judges out of that? How do you get teachers out of that?
You know what's funny? My I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast, and if I hadn't, I'm sure I've meant to. But my dad said this. Not my non-existent biological father, because fuck that nigga. But also, shout out to my non-existent biological father. I'm not forgetting him this time. But my dad said that. My dad said that to me once.
He's becoming a friend of mine or something. You keep shouting. I'm like, yo, who's this guy? I want to meet this guy now.
Me too. Oh my God.
Too soon. But is it though?
No.
It's not too soon.
It's 30 years too late, nigga. It's 30 years too late.
Maybe for him it's still too soon. I don't know. He has to warm up to you. You're a very abrasive motherfucker.
Oh.
Bruh, I just started this podcast 2 years ago. Okay?
Yeah, but
I was 28.
But your personality has been like that since birth.
He wouldn't know.
Killing it, dog.
That's a lie. My non-existent biological father would show up from time to time up until I was like 12. So like he did remind me what his face looks like from time to time. Yikes. Oh my God. I've seen
Wow. Is there like a bomb button? It's like,
Nope.
We do have this.
Warning. Cancel culture is imminent.
Facts. But we only play that when we're about to offend somebody that, we don't mean to offend. But fuck that nigga. We mean to offend. I'm kidding. I don't really mean fuck my non-existent biological father. That's why I shout him out. I fuck with him. Just like I fuck with my exes. Shout out to my exes.
2 for 2.
Also, shout out to the fuck boys that are running back and telling them what I'm saying on this episode. Ooh. But nonetheless.
3 for 3.
Two more in the pocket. But coming back to what my dad said, he was like, it took him a while to understand. I never understood it until he explained it this way. He said, when a judge looks at a black person, they don't see what they see when they look at a white person. When say a white person does something like he commits accidental murder. I don't mean self-defense. I mean accidental murder. Like I didn't mean to kill him kind of thing.
Right.
When a white judge sees a white person or a white kid go through that, he looks at that kid like, I can understand that. I understand that's not what he meant to do. But as a white judge, you can't see that in a black person. Right. You can't understand. If a black person says the same thing as a white person, you can't put yourself in their shoes.
Right.
If he's a white suburban kid and you're a rich white judge, you're going to relate more to that white kid than you're going to relate to the project raised black kid.
Right.
So you're able to take that situation, put yourself in them shoes and be like, I can see where you're coming from. And I know that if I did that, I wouldn't mean to do that. So I'm going to assume that if he did that, he didn't mean to do that. Right. But then when you look at a black kid, you can't look at that the same way. So you're going to say, I'm going to look at the facts. And you'll be like, well, the evidence looks like you meant to do it, kind of thing.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand. I forget where I was going with that. But I understand where, like, there's a difference in cultural upbringing and it affect your opinion on other people.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't side by it, but I can recognize it, if that makes sense.
Right. Because it's like they're programmed to condition just because of how they were brought up. And I'm not saying that, it's not their fault. And I'm not saying that they should be old enough to understand that that's not the right thing or the right way. You feel me?
I would argue that they should understand, that they're old enough to understand.
I mean,
if you're a judge, if you're the age of a judge.
Right. Right, but then they were also in a time, once that year bracket breaks out, because those judges in such age group don't understand what a 17-year-old is going through or a 28-year-old went through as a 17-year-old that committed his first crime or been in the system and out the system. So this 65-year-old, 70-year-old judge don't understand his travels and his patterns in life because it's totally different from him. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So now this judge is looking at this kid like, oh, you should know better. You knew what you were doing wrong.
Yeah.
You have no excuses.
Yeah.
Life. You feel me? And it was just like, oh, he made a mistake. He was playing high school ball. You know, something happened. And then also the judge is trying to get credentials under his belt so he can say, I locked up 1 million people. I locked up these many people for 1 million years under his belt. So when he retire, he possibly might get a pension extra or something. You feel me? I don't know. I don't know. But it just seems like that.
So you really think that it's the media that's pinning us against each other? Because I look at that situation, I'm saying it's just, I think the cultural differences, the upbringing, the fact, it's not even the cultural difference. I don't think cultural differences is what sets us apart. I think it's a lack of understanding in cultural differences that separates us.
Right.
That's my biggest thing. I think that there are people that are raised differently from me. I've been on both sides of the coin. Like, I understand.
Right.
I've been in the, like, that's why I always, I'm quick to attack everybody that thinks I'm either Republican or Democrat, because it's like, oh, well, because of this history, you could be Republican, but because of this history, you could be Democrat and shit like that. It's like, don't put me in a fucking box. You don't know what I've been, you don't know what my life story is. So with that being said, how are you going to put me in a specific box?
Right, right.
So,
Facts.
I mean, Dad, I don't think there's a way that you hold people to an extent of generalization, even though I generalize bitches all the time. Also, shout out to Brittany Renner.
4 for 4. I didn't see that one coming.
One more. I snuck that one in too, Russell.
I was trying to figure out how you going to get the other 2 off. But
Wow.
you got it.
That was